that being said, a lot to be demanded here out of TOS. Now they just came out of the upper bracket having a loss to Lilo's minions. Now they're going to be duking out here in the lowers against a team who I think many people were surprised to see take this far. That's going to be the Power. I think they came in with a rather bit of a rough group stage, getting a little bit of the lower seeds. In fact, not just a little bit of the lower seeds, I think they got the lowest seed, so therefore every game that they've won thus far is technically an upset. Regardless, they've done well to make it here, and now we find ourselves in the lower finals. The winner of this matchup is going to move on, take on Lilo's minions in the grand finals. That is, if I'm reading this bracket correctly. Pretty sure I am. But we got just a minute or two here. So I'm going to put on some music and vibe for a second while all of our teams load in.
Way too many faces in the crowd, but I think that I see one too many days got me changing up the way that I need you. Now we're both at a bar, acting like it's not hard, trying to feel something different.
Also, if you guys couldn't tell, I am running a solo from here on out. I think I'll maybe get a caster for the grand finals, but for this particular matchup, it's just gonna be me, which I'm cool with. I think I'm honestly pretty used to casting the solo. There's a couple of other tournaments I've run where I'm actually usually the only one casting, so not a big issue for me. It just means that you guys are unfortunately gonna have to suffer with my voice for the duration of this match. Alright, we are dealing with a technical issue from one of the players. They've had to restart their PC, so it means that I'm gonna go on break for another 2 minutes or so until they load in. Then at that point we'll come back, we'll talk about the series, we'll get this game underway, we'll see who moves on to grand finals. Chat, be back in just a second.
They say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to.
From here on, it is time for these two teams to show what they've got. It's the Power versus TOS. Two of these teams have had a very strong run coming out of the bracket, or coming out of the group stage I should say, and finding themselves very deep into this bracket. Keep in mind, chat, there are 3 teams left, and to at least say that you're part of the top 3 is a pretty significant achievement, especially with how stacked some of these teams are. To have made it this far, very impressive. But it's not over for either of these two teams just yet. TOS, very impressive run for them. In fact, went through the majority of the tournament undefeated, that is until they came across Lilo's minions. And then at that point it was lights out. TOS sent down to the lowest bracket. The Power, on the other hand, very different story. They had a little bit of a slow start over in the group stage, starting off 0-2. They then went on into the playoffs, securing the lowest seed, so every single match they have played has technically been an upset since then. So they pulled off 2 upsets in a row to make themselves in this position. Now we got a singular best of 5 on our hands here to determine who goes against the reigning champion of AltRLE. That is Entry. The last time that we saw Entry, back in the very first 3v3 tournament, he walked out with a win. And if no one is able to challenge him, it looks like that might just happen again, especially with the prize money on the line. Entry is going to be happy to get some of his hands on that. TOS, on the other hand, hoping that they can make a reappearance in the finals after having just taken on Lilo's minions. They're looking for a little bit of a redemption. Now it's the Power, looking for a little bit of possession early into this game. Keep in mind, chat, we are on North America East servers. This is the Power home servers, so that means the onus is on them to perform. If the TOS walk out with this game, that would be quite devastating, but at the very least it would mean that the Power still are able to play on their home server throughout game number 2 and maybe beyond. But TOS, it's looking like the server does not matter for them whatsoever. There's DCs, as he starts off with a little bit of a pogo at the tail end of this pre-flip play. A unique goal from TOS, but we've seen DCs absolutely flexing his mechanics all day long, and why would this game be anything different? Xenon now coming in as the sub. I think the first player to have played for TOS was Smarties, hence the name. We had Okeanos, DCs, and Smarties, and their names, their gamer tags combined for TOS. But now we don't have a TOS anymore, we have a TOX. Now it's TOS. TO lead here for the first time in this series. The Power on the back foot, even on their home service, still struggling just a little bit. See what they're capable of here as Mendo. Shot on target, easily denied, courtesy of Okeanos. And Oki, especially in the group stage, he was punishing on and off around the pitch, looking for those open nets, being able to tap it in whenever possible, and I think you're gonna see that is a recurring theme here, especially as we get into this series. There's Oki one more time, slamming this one in for a third. Yeah, TOX Tyguns, Okeanos, and Xenon. Should I rename them to Tox? Unsure. I think we'll stick with TOS for the time. Oh no. Oh no. Well, this one is certainly a disaster. I feel like could have been averted. Mendo was doing his best to cut the play back towards the safety of his own corner, but I think it's landed up into his own net. There's a 4-goal lead for TOS, is already looking to run away with it here in game number 1. Likely means that TOS are going to have to stick to playing on their away servers. The Power, on the other hand, they got another attempt at game number 2, sticking to NA. And if you're the Power, how do you even begin to come back from such a defeat? It's a good question. Especially Mendo as well has had a lot of pressure on his shoulders as the highest ranked player from the Power. And it's difficult to perform, especially given the threat of TOS trying to switch to EU servers, putting on the pressure onto the Power. Now the Power On the back foot, Xenon. Has he owned gold? He's done that. Right off the kickoff, TOS looking to drag the game a little bit farther out. Playing with their food, they're filling up their plate. They've got a buffet on their hands, and they're gonna keep eating away at the mental of the power. All three players for TOS somehow managing to come up empty on that offensive drive. Here's a counter for the power. Easily cleared away by TOS as two members combined to send it pinching off of their own backboard far into the midfield. Mendo pokes a hole into the backboard, and that's going to allow Jade to rotate in. Find herself a third for the power after slowly but surely inching their way back into game number 1. Will TOS let them have it? Are they done playing with their food? Are they going to finally lock out game number 1? I dare say they might be able to with only 30 seconds on the clock here. The power once again at a loss for words, struggling to break out of their own half. Here's Survivor. Over to Mendo in the midfield as Mendo, a strong touch over to the backboard, but without much boost to work with, now has to rotate away. It's Xenon. Once again, on the back post, Jade up, trying to get any sort of angle for the power, but they can't find any mark to work with. None of the angles seem to be going their way here, and as such, it's TOS for game 1. Chat, I'm going to be talking a little bit less throughout this game. I've got to save my voice. It's been a long day. We've been casting since... I would like started at like 2 p.m. EST. It's now 5 o'clock. And unfortunately, hasn't really been too many breaks for us in the meantime. So I'm not going to be talking too much, trying to save my voice for the grand finals, which should be coming up to you in just a little bit. So thank you, chat, for bearing with me through all the ups and downs. It's been a long day, but we have had some entertaining matches. And this one's also set to be no less. We got another game on our hands. Game number 2. It's now the power. On the back foot here after having lost game number 1 to TOS. Trying to figure out what on earth went wrong for the power. They were able to start to make some semblance of a comeback throughout the end of game 1, but it wasn't quite enough, was it? Mendo in particular, shot opportunities just always felt like they were going slightly wide. This is a slow roller though, as DC is going to be punching his ticket in for the first goal. Survivor on the backboard doing his best to make contact, but a well-placed backboard shot by DC's means that Survivor, there is no chance he's getting up to save that ball in time. TOS, much like game number 1, they've established a 1-goal lead. Can they hold on to it as DC's takes to the skies again? Uses the last few boost in his tank to find himself a flip reset. Not going to be able to find the second though. Mendo from the corner. Also not much boost to their name as the power. They're running on fumes right now. Save Mendo, who's got a little bit of boost to work with, but take a look at Jade and Serve. They have got nothing to work with. Jade, after having taken a trip around the midfield to pick up some pads, has now burnt it all just trying to advance this ball down the pitch. In the meantime, TOS, their tanks are full. They're eating nice right now. They've got all you can eat, all the boost in the world to play with to defend against this attack as DC's into the corner. Jade on the back foot has to find a strong touch here to the corner, and she does. But this ball lingers in front of the net. All three players for the power combining in order to make that stop, but somehow the ball has still not advanced out of their own half. They are locked into the blue side of the pitch, and inevitably the wall will crumble as TOS comes a knocking. Now the power. Once again finding themselves in a similar situation compared to game 1. Around this time I want to say TOS had really started to run away with it, the power. At that point in time we're able to make some semblance of a comeback, but here in game number 2 it's not looking too likely, is it, chat? Now you got a question. Is Xenon coming in for the TOS? Is it a significant buff? I don't know. I dare say it's not, at the hesitation that Smarties is watching this stream. Maybe it is though. Never quite know, will we, until we see ourselves in the grand finals if TOS make it there. So far the power are doing their best to deny it. But after having made it so far in this bracket, it would be a shame to lose out here as another shot opportunity being denied on the goal line. TOS keeping it out of the block, also able to find a counterattack as well as Xenon rotates in, tries to poke a hole into the backfield, but Mendo's got it. Able to keep the ball positioned in the midfield exactly where Mendo wants as soon as Mendo sees the ball on their goal line. The speed at which he tries to execute the play back into the midfield is very impressive, but it's not stopped TOS from advancing. Now the power. All the way back around on their own defensive end, Survivor, using all of his boost to try to get this ball towards Mendo. Does succeed, but unfortunately both Mendo and Survivor are left with not too much boost to play with. Serve using pretty much every last drop just to keep this ball in play over to Mendo. Now it's Jade. Been intercepted by DCs, who opts for the back pass. Quality team plays coming out from TOS in order to keep possession, generate shot opportunities. Can't say that Power have been able to do too much of that here in game number 2. With a minute and change, it's all up to the Power here. These three players, a lot on the line, especially TOS, now is just beginning to threaten that match point. They're one step closer moving on to the grand finals, getting the rematch against Lilo's Minions. And if you guys happen to catch that Lilo's Minions versus TOS matchup, it was a smackdown. To be fair, TOS did take a game off of them. But aside from that, I don't think it was particularly close, as Lilo's Minions ended up walking away with that win. It wasn't even a game 5, it was 3-1 though. But unfortunately, I am left without words, as the Power a rather disappointing end towards game number 2 after having come off of game number 2 with maybe a handful of shots to the name at best. TOS, on the other hand, they've got all the pressure, all the momentum as they look to punch their ticket into the grand finals. About a minute or two before the next game begins, as both these players ready up. Looks like the Power in particular taking their time, using that 1 minute to try to talk it out, see what they can fix getting into game number 3. Alrighty chat, it's game time. Maybe this is going to be the one where TOS lock it out, as they're currently on match point. Maybe this is where they punch their ticket into that grand finals. The Power have not been able to find a good solution to take on this team throughout this series. And this is going to be their last opportunity to do so, as Mendo starting off game number 1 with a banger. The cross-map air dribble works wonders as he air dribbles over all 3 of the TOS defense. Oki, in a last-ditch effort, tries to go up on the goal line to make the stop, but that's not going to do him many favors in the Power. For the first time here in this series, they've got themselves a lead. How long will they be able to hold on to it? And if the past games are to indicate anything, then TOS are quite hungry. Will snap up any attempt at a goal they get and slam it into the back of your net if you're not being careful. So TOS, it's Oki into the backboard, looking for the double tap though. Serve has made the stop, and thankfully the Power are able to clear it out. It's a little bit dicey on the goal line for just a second there, but somehow the Power doing well to keep themselves alive, holding on to that 1 goal lead by a thread. Now it's Xenon looking to bring it back all the way around. He's got DC's in the midfield to work with. DC's double tap. Oh, he can't find the angle. He's just inches off the mark. Unfortunate, as the TOS still having to fight back this 1 goal deficit. Now the Power can feel them breathing a big sigh as they finally find themselves a 1 goal lead. But they're struggling to hold on to it after being caught in their own defensive end so many times. Eventually the Great Wall is sure to crumble, and TOS going to find the equalizer off the back of a very lucky bounce. Maybe not lucky, as Xenon absolutely smashes it into the corner. It bounces perfectly. 2 players combined on the side of TOS, and they find first. These kickoffs have been goofy throughout the tournament. I've been trying to keep track of all the kickoff goals, but at some point I gave up. There was just too many. I remember there was one particular series, I can't tell you exactly the names, but we saw like 3 kickoff goals in a row, and I was doing my best to cast all these kickoff goals, but it was just like, it was so back and forth. It was like watching an auction house, you know? You got 1 goal, give me 1 goal, give me 1 goal. Yes, that's 1 goal for TOS. You see 2, do you see 2? I see 2, there's a sign up for 2, that's 2 goals now. It's always so back and forth. Some goofy games, but always some good fun nevertheless. Equalizer here though. As we now finally, seems like we got a game on our hands. The Power, after having struggled throughout games 1 and 2, it looks like they might have some inkling of a solution. Starting to poke a hole through that Achilles heel of TOS. Can they lock it out though? Mendo from the midfield. Air dribbles over 1, but not over 2. Another Power looking to regroup on their goal line. Serve. A little bit of boost to work with, but not nearly enough to dish this out to Jade in the midfield. Mendo looking to take control. Oh, DC, he's in a world of pain here, as he's been absolutely deleted off of the near post. Courtesy of Mendo, who goes for the air dribble, finds the bump, slams in third. TOS looking like they still want to finish this game off with a sweep after having equalized again, but my goodness, credits to DC's here. I feel like this net was open for just a second, and I think DC's spotted that as well. He looks for the instant shot on target. He ends up having to settle for the backboard, but doesn't make do as he finds the angle, dishes it down in towards the midfield. TOS. Wait a second, this kickoff again? How many more kickoff goals are we gonna get, chat? We've seen 2 this game alone. Are we going to get more? I don't know. I don't think I can handle more. TOS. They want to walk out with this game in the sweep. They're gonna have to prevent some of those kickoff goals, especially with this next kickoff coming up. We know the Power have got some kickoff strategies up their sleeve. Will they choose to use them? TOS been able to outspeed it in the midfield, especially Mendo has been the only person who can try to keep up with DCs and Xenon. And whenever Mendo is not involved in the play, you can see TOS taking that opportunity to speed the pace of play in the midfield, trying to catch the rest of the Power off guard. And that strategy seems to be working. Luckily, they have not conceded this kickoff after a couple of kickoff shenanigans here and there. This one seems to be much more stable. Outserve, shot on target, denied by Xenon. DCs takes to the skies, but with what little boost he has, he was at best maybe going to get one touch, maybe two if he conserved his boost wisely. Now they're gonna have to retreat back onto the defense. DCs without any boost. What does he hope to accomplish? He's gonna have to fake it here while it receives power. I think at some point I should probably learn the pronunciation for the Power. I've just been calling them the Power for the majority of the stream. And I'm not even pronouncing the first word correctly, so I'm totally given up, to be honest. But I know Heisen was doing his best to teach me, but his best was not enough. I'm sorry, Heisen. I couldn't nail the pronunciation after all this time. TOS, on the other hand, looks like they're nailing down game number 3. Ball lingering for quite a minute in the midfield as both teams looking to take possession. Survivor from the corner, all of his boost goes into taking the play into the midfield. Mendo as well playing a little bit of air dribble simulator, trying to keep the ball in possession, and kudos to the Power, at least keeping the ball close in order to generate an opportunity when it shows up, because TOS can't play perfectly forever. At some point they will have to cave. However, TOS, only 10 seconds left for them to hold on to this one goal lead and move on into the grand finals. They're gonna add another one for good measure, but it's gone slightly wide. The Power trying to keep it up. It's Mendo. Dribble on his head. The flick to work with, but no, Xenon has denied it, sent it to the ground, and TOS, for the second time in this tournament, they will be taking on the undisputed leaders thus far, Lilo's Minions. That's going to be a devastating 3-0 sweep, all on NA servers, might I mention. But still a brilliant performance from the Power. Nevertheless, I mean, they came in definitely as the lower seed into this bracket. Every single game they won is an upset, and to have made it this far is quite an accomplishment. Kudos. Alright, chat, it's grand finals time, but before that, before a well-deserved break, I'm taking a minute, chat. I don't know about you. So, we'll reconvene in just a few minutes. I want to say that grand finals will begin in the next 10 minutes or so, but I do want to give TOS a deserved break before we get into grand finals. So, we'll reconvene in just a bit, chat. Talk to you soon.